If we get intimidated and just go home because we're not going to have a job, or this and this is going to happen to us, then injustice will flourish. So, to me, the way I look at it, it's not about Felix or anything like that. It's not even about my family. It's about the implications of this judgment because it runs deep. It's going to run very, very deep.
Reverend Felix Ngole, every time I talk to you, I'm just absolutely thrilled because you're an amazing person. Let's begin. Just say hello to everyone listening and viewing. It's so good to have you along, Felix.
Thank you so much and good morning. It's good to be with you. And thank you for listening to us this morning, me and Dr. Tony.
Really, it's you that people come to hear because you're just a superhero, Felix. And I just want to remind people who might be coming at this fresh, who don't understand the background. So a few years ago now, you were a social work student studying to be a social worker. You kicked off your course because of some Facebook messages where somebody had asked you a question about marriage, and you said you think marriage is between a man and a woman, and somebody reported you to the tutors. They kicked you off the course because they thought that belief was incompatible with social work. You won a court case where the court said, look, you're not discriminatory at all, and they shouldn't have kicked you off because that's what you believe. And you would have thought that was enough. And in your humility, you went back and you got the qualification and you started work as a social worker because that's the kind of guy you are. You don't give up, you get on with it, and you face your challenges. Even in the face of all that, you are marvelous. So well done for that, Felix.
Thank you.
But your story never stopped there, did it?
No.
You then moved on to another job, and this other job, you were offered the job. In fact, they said you were the best candidate.
Yes.
And you offered the job, but then they rang you up and said, actually, we can't give you the job. Tell us what happened there.
I applied for the job. I was shortlisted, went for the interview. It was brilliant because apparently at that time they didn't know who I was. So everything was good. I was the best candidate for the job. And they rang me to offer me the job. So I accepted the job offer.
Yep.
And then I never heard anything from them, which made me a bit suspicious. Anyway, eventually they contacted me and said, Felix, we're withdrawing the job offer. And I said, why? Why are you withdrawing the job offer? They weren't upfront at that point. So I had to press and press and press until they said, well, we came across, we Googled you, and we then realized that you've got these views and you went to the Court of Appeal against the University of Sheffield. Your views are incompatible with our ethos. And so for that reason, we're withdrawing the job offer. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is part two. I'm going to start all again with another company. And kicked off from there. They invited me for a second interview after I protested. I went to the interview and, when I got there, I was being re-interviewed and all the questions that they asked me was all centered around LGBT and the fact that I have to agree to same-sex marriage. And because I didn't agree to same-sex marriage, they decided to withdraw the job offer. I was actually told during the interview that if I were to attend training, because my views were just so horrible, I wasn't allowed to, share my views during training. But everybody else was allowed to share their views. But because I hold the view that marriage should be between a man and a woman, and that's such a horrible view to hold, in their view, I wasn't allowed to express that view during training. So the job offer was withdrawn, and I felt that was completely unfair. And I had to contact Christian Concern, who then decided to appeal on my behalf. So we are back to square one, went to the tribunal, and, we had the court judgment, I think, about almost 6 weeks ago. And I looked at the judgment and I felt that the judgment isn't fair at all. And we decided to appeal that judgment. So that's where we are at the moment.
Yeah, and that's, first of all, let's big shout out for Christian Concern because they've supported you through this.
Absolutely.
And what really saddens me is that there are people, for every person like you who's willing to fight right? There are many, many more people who are too scared.
Yes.
And would either have lost their job and would just be unemployed, unable to get a job, and just feel destitute. Yep, unfairly so. But even then, you know, for people who are willing to fight, they haven't got the resources. You know, these things aren't cheap. So it's great that there's people like Christian Concern out there who took you on and took your case on, and were funded by individuals to stand up for your basic human rights, for beliefs which up until 10 years ago, right, everyone knew for the whole of human history, this is what we all agreed.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, you know, so it's not, and equally, you're not discriminating upon anybody just because of you're coming at it from a Christian perspective, Felix.
Yes.
Many of our supporters, most of our supporters, if I'm honest, are probably Christians. Our tens of thousands of supporters. Some of them come from different faiths, and some of them have no faith at all. But the vast majority are coming at this from a Christian perspective, and the fact that your Christian beliefs are now deemed to make you unemployable.
Yes.
Which is quite remarkable.
It is absolutely shocking, Dr. Tony, because if you look at my history, I've worked with, you know, name it, people from, you know, people who identify as gay, lesbian. I've worked with people who are white, people who are foreigners. I've worked with asylum seekers. I've worked with single mothers. Name it, I've worked with them. I've worked as a housing officer, social worker, teacher. And nobody's ever complained about my practice, not even once. Not once for the past 20 years. And so I've done my job well. And the reason why I go back each day is because I love people. I love to work with people. I love to help people. That's where my passion is. And as a Christian, I'm right to have that passion. And just to see that at one point I'm the best candidate, and the feedback was absolutely great. Many people applied for that job. I was the best candidate, and the feedback, I'll just give you the feedback that I received from them. They said they don't believe I'll discriminate. They believe that I'm very, very kind. They said all of those things, and then they Googled me, and all of a sudden, no, you're actually the worst person. Not because there's anything to show that I would discriminate or have ever discriminated against anyone, but just because I hold the belief that God did a perfect job when He created you, Dr. Tony. He did a perfect job. He never made any mistakes. You are, you know, a handsome white British male. That's how
my wife might my wife might disagree about the mistakes, but you know.
Well, he married you, so she married you, so she must have seen something wonderful about you, and that's the belief that I hold, that God didn't make any mistakes at all. He is the most intelligent, He's the most kind, and He created all of us wonderfully, and He created us male and female, and that's something that we should be proud to say. Our current climate might suggest otherwise. However, we have to stand for what we believe in because it is true, and it is kind to say so. Even though some people might believe that it is not kind for you to say that, but it is kind to say so. It is kind to tell other people that they are wonderful. God didn't make a mistake the way He created you. He's a kind God, and He created you in a unique way. If I told anybody otherwise, then I'll be lying to them. If I say God made a mistake by creating you male, or by creating you white, or creating you black, then I'm telling a lie, because God didn't make a mistake. So to tell the truth shouldn't go as far as making us unemployable. It shouldn't be.
And anyone who's ever met you, Felix, knows that you're a lovely, gentle, kind person who just likes to give and give and give. And I don't mean to puff you up, Felix, but anyone who's met you, you're just overflowing with gentleness and kindness, and just such a lovely person to be around, which is great. But so just to clarify for those people who might be a bit confused, because you appealed the tribunal and you lost the appeal on. It was a little bit complicated, because about the fact that they first of all got rid of you without giving you a second interview, but actually the tribunal appeal found against you because they said, well, it's okay for this organization to not want to give you a job just in case anybody who disagrees with your views might get offended. Now, that's really, really important, yeah? Because when you think about, there's two implications for that, Felix, I wouldn't mind you discussing. The first one is, of course, anyone who also supports the belief that marriage is between a man and a woman, which is in legislation as valid belief. Yep, it's defensible. It's also in our legal system, our court cases has been decided as a precedent that it's worthy. It's worthy of respect in a liberal democracy. The belief that marriage should be between a man, it's still there. So for this case to reach that conclusion is interesting. But not only that, with respect to people who support marriage, Felix. But what happens when that view turns to, let's say, political views? Oh, well, you voted for a certain party, so we can't give you a job in case some of our vulnerable clients who have different political views find out your political views.
Exactly.
It's insane. So, talk us through why it doesn't make any sense.
I think, Dr. Tony, you've summarized it so well. And it is dangerous. That's the best way to put it. It is absolutely dangerous. Because what it will mean, if we flip the coin as well, it will mean that for us who believe in marriage between a man and a woman, it means we will be right not to employ people who are gay or LGBT. If we're to put that forth, all hell will break loose. They'll say you're discriminating against them. And I think that is such a dangerous conclusion to come to. The fact that you hold a specific view and you can do the job and do it safely should be what employers should be looking at, not the fact that you hold a certain belief. I think that would be problematic if that decision was made to stand.
I think people who like cauliflower shouldn't be employed. How's about, because it's horrible. How's about that? It doesn't make any sense, does it really? You're not going to discriminate against people who like cauliflower because you don't, etc., etc. That's called being professional. It's called being courteous. It's called being kind. It's called abiding by the Equality Act, which doesn't deal with what your thoughts are. It just deals with how you behave towards other people. That's why we have it.
Absolutely.
So tell us, where does this go from here? What's the time? I'm glad you're appealing. Good for you. You're doing something which is going to make a difference for everybody. This isn't about Christians. This is about freedom of thought and freedom of conscience. And you're defending that for everybody. Where does it go from here? What's the process, Felix?
Well, Dr. Tony, as you know, it's very, very important that we appeal, just for the reasons which you gave earlier. But if we get intimidated and just go home because we're not going to have a job, or this and this is going to happen to us, then injustice will flourish. So to me, the way I look at it, it's not about Felix or anything like that. It's not even about my family. It's about the implications of this judgment, because it runs deep. It's going to run very, very deep. I think the best way to put it is that judge, the honorable judge, he put his leg on my neck and he said, "You can't breathe." That's what he did. And what he meant was Christians shouldn't breathe just for holding a view. And I find that really dangerous. And for me, particularly, that's the reason why I'm appealing. And I hold strongly that it has to be appealed. And I'm so thankful to Christian Concern for standing up and saying, "Felix, you know what, we're gonna help you. We're going to help you." But it's not only Christian Concern, it's other people as well who are chipping in to say, "We believe this is unfair. We believe this shouldn't be happening. In a democratic and free society, we're going to put our money in." So I'm thankful that everybody is chipping in. But where we're heading to at this point in time is that Christian Concern is going to put in an appeal. I think we had a 6-week window to do so. So they're going to be doing that very soon. And once the appeal is in, we will then hear from the court when the case is going to be heard.
Well, listen, Felix, it's great to catch up with you. It's great to let people know what's going on in the background in our country. So people can, if they pray, they can pray for you. If they want to support you in other ways, they can do that too, and they can get in touch. But really, just for people to know that, we have to keep up this fight, not just around marriage, because marriage is actually between a man and a woman brings about the best version of the next generation. It's good, it's healthy, it's great for society, and it needs to be promoted, but just for freedom of thought and freedom of conscience for everyone.
Dr. Tony, we have to do it. We have to do it. As I said, it's easy to be intimidated and say, oh, these people are going to come after me. And they've come after me, to be honest.
Felix, you're a complete and utter superhero.
Thanks.
Such a joy. Once the next step has been found out and agreed, or you're on the journey again, will you come back and talk to us?
Absolutely, Dr. Tony, and thank you so much for inviting me back. And I also want to thank you personally for the encouragement. I mean, it goes quite a long way, just the emails you send to me to say, brother, I'm praying for you, brother, we are with you. And I think the last article that I saw published by Christian Concern, they mentioned the Coalition for Marriage supporting me. And to me, I just felt, wow, that's just so wonderful. So thank you.
Well, you've got to know that.
Enough.
No, when you're sat there and you're feeling desperate and you're feeling nobody wants you, or you can't be employed because of what you believe, you need to know that there are literally thousands of people up and down the country who are on your side,
Amen.
We're behind you, Felix. We're behind you. And you are the tip of the arrow. So just feel supported. We're here. Thank you very much for all you're doing. Thank your family on our behalf. And Reverend Felix Ngoli, look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony.